Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We continue with our live coverage here from the Nasrec Center in the south of Johannesburg as the 55th National Elective Conference of the ANC gets underway. Well, a lot of delays, of course. In studios, joining us this afternoon is Mohammed Desai, and he is the director at AFrica4Palestine. Mohammed, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam. Jazakallah so much for having me and for covering this issue.
How crucial is your participation at these conferences, especially when it comes to the policy issues pertaining to Palestine?
Absolutely essential. Let us put it into the larger perspective. The larger perspective is that bombs drop on Gaza. Our people in South Africa come out onto the streets protesting against what is happening to the Palestinian people. Now, this voices of the streets needs to be translated into political action. Political action meaning political policy by our governing party. Our governing party's political policy must then be translated into state action. And so our participation, our involvement and our presence at the African National Congress's conference is twofold. The one is to ensure and to try to lobby for and try to advocate for better policy on the issue of Palestine and on the issue of the Palestinian struggle against Israeli apartheid on the one hand, and on the other hand to also push and advance for better implementation by the state of these African National Congress policies. And we have seen greater and more intense positions taken by the African National Congress as a direct result of successful lobbying, not just by the organization that I am part of, but by various and many organizations working on this issue.
There was a lot of talk about downgrading the Israeli embassy. What has happened on that matter? What is the latest, and how does this conference time with that?
So this was a major victory of the Palestinian Solidarity Movement 5 years ago when the ANC had met at this very same venue at Nasrec at the 54th National Conference. It was the first time that a government of the world had embarked on a program of downgrading diplomatic relations, but not only in a loose kind of nice sounding way of downgrading relations, but also the ANC took the resolution to concretely downgrade our embassy to a liaison office in Israel, to withdraw our ambassador from Tel Aviv. And today, as we speak, I think that we should be proud as South Africans that as a result of that policy decision at the ANC's last conference in 2017, as we speak today, we don't have an ambassador sitting in Tel Aviv. We're one of the few countries that have downgraded our relations. And this sends a very clear message on two levels. Firstly, it sends a very clear message to locally in South Africa, to all our state institutions, to all government departments, that there are no normal relations with an abnormal state like Israel. And secondly, it sends a very clear message on the international arena, where South Africa does have a big role to play and does carry significant political weight. South Africa's position of not having an ambassador or an embassy in Israel gets noticed by the international community and by other states.
But just as you are lobbying for the Palestinian cause, there are others also who are lobbying against it. So was there any opposition felt at this level when it comes to policies as far as the ANC is concerned?
I'm glad you're raising it. Mickey Mouse, they're playing marbles, really. The Israeli lobby was sitting outside with a few Israeli flags the other day, and really they look clownish. They stand there waving the Israeli flag whilst the Palestinian Solidarity Movement is firmly on the inside. They're standing there on the curbside of Nasrec whilst the PLO's representative Jibril Rajoub will be addressing the entire conference of the ANC. I really think that seeing some of the supporters of Israel standing on the road outside conferences, like some of the leaders of the ANC that have been expelled, really the pro-Israel position has been expelled, it would seem, from any sort of influence within the ANC. So yeah, there are some attempts by the Israeli lobby, but they're becoming an increasingly desperate lot that are failing to have an impact on both South African government policy but also ANC policy.
Now, what are you hopeful for as far as this particular conference is concerned? And the reason why I ask this question is because been marred by the party politics, delays upon delays. Maybe the item was on the agenda, resolutions were going to be adopted, amendments were going to be adopted. With all this happening, what are you expecting and what are you hopeful for?
I think that even though there are contestations, we understand the reason why these contestations lead to things like conference delays or for various disruptions or possible disruptions. And this is because whatever gets decided today or in the course of the next 2 or 3 days will be deciding the future of South Africa for the next 5 years. It's really significant. These 5 days that we are spending here in Johannesburg paves the way for the next 5 years. And we've been with the African National Congress both as an ally, as a partner, and also sometimes as a pressure group on the ANC for the last 10 to 15 years. And what we hope to, and so we do know that even though there are political contestations and election issues, that there is also a space in which resolutions and policy is going to be discussed. Although we must add that much of the policy discussions took place a few months ago at the policy conference in which Radio Islam was also present. And these policy discussions will mostly be ratified, and some of them will be strengthened. Our role in this conference is to make sure that the decisions that have already been adopted on the issue of Palestine are reaffirmed and that we strengthen the various resolutions.
Mohammed Desai from Africa for Palestine, chatting to Radio Islam International.